right thing to say that every game's a test in the Premier League, but is this the biggest test so far?
It's correct, there is test, but this is a real one. The other test is your players, if they're not playing against top sides, they have to motivate themselves. The crowd have to motivate. You have to motivate the crowd, and so they've done that. That test that they've done, do we want to get there? Do we want to change the atmosphere? They've done that. The players themselves look more happier, for whatever the reasons. We don't really know that, but they do look happy themselves. But it's a huge test now, because this is a top side, Tottenham. This is a top side that can be the top 4 sides in Europe at their best. I think they've got the players to play in any side in Europe with Eriksen, Dele Alli, Harry Kane. So this is a real test to Man United, and it'll be a fantastic game to watch.
Is it also a different test in that the way that we've seen them play under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been very free-flowing so far? Do we need to see a bit more discipline in this performance?
I'd say so against Tottenham, because Tottenham, as we've seen over recent weeks, they had obviously, was it 6 past Everton, 7 past Tranmere. I know it's an FA Cup game, but they can score goals. Harry Kane will be chomping at the bit to add to his tally if Manchester United do that. But I think the biggest thing for Manchester United is it would be strange for them going into this game as the underdog. So as much as it's a challenge and a test for them, they might go there thinking, well, the onus is on Tottenham. Tottenham are in the title race. We're just chasing almost the top 4. And if Manchester United this season were to get top 4 with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it'd be a massive achievement.
It's also, as much as Manchester United...
They're not that free-flowing. Liverpool, Man City,
no,
Tottenham yet. Before anybody thinks they went straight into that after 5 games.
Flowing is what I meant. Yeah.
Maybe more imagination, I would say. Just things like, for a year and a half, I've seen Martial stand in the left wing, and he picks it up and he drives with his right foot, and that's it. It's like watching the same thing over again, sliding doors, and Lukaku being on his own all the time and having to come to the ball, which is not his good best. I think the first goal that Martial scored against Cardiff, where he scored, was inside right position. I don't think I've seen him there in a year and a half. He's moved over there. He's getting closer to strikers, and the fullbacks are getting on. So I think it's not the stuff that we see. They're not that level.
The shackles are off.
But there is a wee bit. I think there's a wee bit of thought on. We need to get round the main striker, whoever he is, because and I felt sorry for Lukaku, because if he's at the end he moves, he's as good as you get. When you involve him in the build-up at times, I think 50% of the chance the ball might break down. So good teams manage, it's like Spurs, they manage to get people around Harry Kane, where it's Dele Alli running behind, Eriksen playing in there, Mora playing in there, Son playing in there, so he's never isolated. So I think that's one of the things that's happened at Manchester United. They've got somebody around the main striker, and there's more movement, and there's more. They're closer. They're playing closer together. You watch the good teams now; they all play closer. I always thought Man United were stretched out. One played there, one played there, one played through the middle, and the 3 there never went anywhere apart for their wee areas. You could shut your eyes, and after 20 minutes, they'll still be in the same spots for the top team. So I think we need to watch what we're saying before we get into free flowing. I think free flowing is when it happens.
Man City versus Burton.
I wasn't drawing direct comparisons. No, but it's a good point to make, and but it has been a more attacking brand of football, hasn't it, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Can I say that?
You certainly can say that.
And does that make them more vulnerable against Tottenham?
I think everybody's vulnerable against Tottenham, whatever system you play, because I do think they're a fantastic, fantastic side. But I think there is a sharpness to their minds now, the Man United. I think it was like a third gear they played in all the time, a third gear. And I think he's trying to bring in, you have no fear when you have the ball, and have a fear when you don't have the ball. I think Man United at times over the last couple of years still had a fear in their mind when they're attacking, and what was going to happen, fear that what might happen. Instead of making things happen, I think they're maybe back to that Manchester United. So I think that'll be in them, that they have to understand what happens when they lose the ball. And I think they've got that. I think they've got players like Matic and that and Herrera who understand that.
And you worked under Mike Phelan at Hull. What does he have to bring to this equation?
Well, first of all, he knows the club. He knows the fabric of the club. He'd played for the club. He'd been a coach there in their best days with Alex Ferguson. So he knows exactly what it takes at the club and what everyone needs. And I think the way he works, his coaching is really good. He's quite a smiley, happy person. So I think he'll be good to go into that changing room when, I guess, listen, it's not the end of the world, but for Manchester United to be in sixth in the league isn't where they want to be. But he'll be the one that's almost cracking jokes, but still putting on decent sessions, along with, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who, as we said, has sort of give them a bit more of a release. He'll be just keeping them ticking over, and then I guess now, like I say, we'll see if that sort of method has worked or whether it's going to need to be a bit more of a methodical way of winning these games.
Yeah, there is. He tends, especially as assistant manager, to try and keep the players ticking over. But I think with the two of them there now, I genuinely believe that Phil, Mick Phelan and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer feel this is the best club in the world, and they feel so excited to be there. And I think that's flown from them onto the players. Yeah. Because I think players can sniff how a manager feels about the club and things like that. And I do think that these two now are saying to maybe not telling everybody every day that this is the best club in the world, but just through their actions that this to them is the best club in the world, and you should be so happy to be here. And I think you're getting a bit of that now. I
think it'll be a relief for a lot of players as well at Manchester United that they're going into training knowing that the manager's enthusiastic, he wants to play in this certain way, but also who's the next person that's going. They're not worrying who's the next person that's going to get hammered in the press today. Yeah. Because we lost the game. Who's going to get called out because they're unfit? Who's going to get called out because they're fat? They've got a manager that just wants them to, like, as we said, express themselves, enjoy playing for Manchester United and play the way that Manchester United want to play. So I think that's a big relief for them going into training every day, because the day-to-day, as much as on a Saturday you need to turn up and make sure you do the goods,
I still think that
through the week is, yeah,
I agree totally, but I still think they had a big responsibility playing, no matter who the manager or whatever you thought the manager. I think it was too easy just to say, oh, well, he was a bit miserable at times and things like that.
Oh, no. Yeah, I just mean the day-to-day. If you go into any workplace and you've got a manager that's almost depressed every day, it's going to rub off on the players. So how can you go out on a Saturday and express yourself when you feel that your manager's doing that? And I feel now it's just slightly different.
Oh, yeah.
Feels like it's a very different atmosphere around the club, and the longer it goes on...
And by the way, let's get it right, that there's no way you can say Solskjaer's a far better manager than Mourinho, just in case anybody thinks we're saying that. His track record...
It's his method is
working. I actually just thought that Jose had a bit of burnout, which you can get as a manager sometimes, where you just get a bit of burnout. I think he has to go away now and see if he has got it again. If he has got it again and he really wants to do it, then he's got to be one of the top managers in the world again. But I just think he got to the point where it was burnout, and I think the players could sniff that hunger and desire and drive wasn't there anymore.
If we're saying this about Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in 10 games' time, that's when we can start to believe, well, actually, he is the real deal, because, you know, most clubs, when they get a caretaker manager or an interim manager, as he is, they always seem to start off to a flyer. And with Manchester United, those fixtures, you'd argue, well, Mourinho probably won those fixtures anyway. But like I say, if they get through Spurs, end up winning that game, and then bounce on and creep into those top four spaces, then obviously he can have the reputation as a good manager.
Well, that's the question that's been sent in to us. What would be enough to get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job at the end of the season?
Well, getting on top four. I think if he does that, then he's a serious contender. Because if they asked this question, top four, maybe 5 weeks ago, we're probably going, maybe no. But now you're saying, yeah, how close can they get? I think they can actually get even closer than top four if they get on a roll. And it's a wonderful thing, football. Once you get on that momentum, it's amazing where you find the legs from, the drive from. You know, nothing seems to be a problem. Have they got somebody set up just now? Have they got somebody in the background? They're obviously doing their due diligence now. That's what they're going to do. But if somebody comes away and he goes undefeated and he does this and he has a great run, then of course he's got to get it. And it's happened to managers before who've been put in position and off they go. But, you know, in life he's took a blow. And sometimes you need blows because he's come across here, he got the Cardiff job, didn't work out, it could have easily affected him, but he's came back again, picked himself up and gone again. So he's ready, he's already had a knock in football. So when he gets to hear that sometimes if you've not had a knock in football before you get to these big jobs, the first sign of getting a knock, they can throw them. So I think he's ready again.
Do you think, as well, with Pochettino being the favourite, obviously for the job, he's 5-4 favourite for the United job. If he gets a win against Tottenham, do you reckon that almost, in terms of the way the board, the way they are, they're not football people, they're businessmen. If they see, well, hang on, he's he's just beat the manager that we're sort of lining up or potentially want to take.
But also the people who are maybe no great fit, but they're going to the stadium and see it alight now, and they're going, well done to them, and going, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We might sign this fella because life's good with this fella.
Exactly.
You know?
And the fans love him. That's it. Whether or not it's because of what he's doing with the team now, but he's a legend at the club. Obviously, scoring that Champions League winner makes a big difference to your reputation at football club.
And also the fact that he seems to have turned the corner for Manchester United so far this season. Big test coming up against the Tottenham side. Under Maurizio Pochettino, who have managed to pick themselves up already this season. They picked themselves up from the defeat by Wolves, have got the results since then, most recent of them, that 1-0 win against Chelsea in the League Cup semi-final first leg. How big a game, though, is this for Spurs and Pochettino in terms of keeping their place in the title race?
I think if they get through this game and they're able to win this game, you look at their fixtures coming up after that, I think there's 6, shall I say, winnable games, and then they play Chelsea at the end of February. So if they can come through this Manchester United game, they'll be looking at those fixtures thinking, we can get 18 points here, what will Liverpool and Manchester City do? And they'll try and put the pressure on as much as possible. But obviously the issue is, in between it, they are going to have Chelsea in the Cup still. Son's going to the Asia Cup. So it's keeping those players, the Moras, who's going to have to play a big part now with Son going, keeping Kane fit, who obviously top scorer every season, and making sure they're all ready to go, because the thing they don't have is the strength in depth that Liverpool and particularly Manchester City, as we saw last night, have got.